Good day and welcome to the Business Success Network podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Business Success Network for Disabled Entrepreneurs podcast. This is season 2, episode 3. I'm Jo O'Neill of Bright Cat Business Solutions and the community leader for the Disabled Entrepreneurs Community Group. Today, my guest is Carolyn Parker, and I'm going to let you introduce yourself, Caroline. Carolyn, please tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, Jo. Lovely to be here today. Yes, so I'm Carolyn. I wear several hats. So my in-person work is working to support a dementia client and his family, which I do in my local area. And in lockdown, I discovered that I could write. So I write about things that I've been through, sometimes quite taboo and stigma kind of subjects, just to break through that stigma and say to women out there, it's okay, you may be living with that secret, but you can move forwards. I see you and I hear you.
That sounds like an amazing thing to do. Now, I'm assuming with that, you're now a published author. How many times have you published? And how many books are in the works?
Oh, gosh. So my full book, a memoir about my teens and 20s from a place called Shame, that came out in November 2022. Before that, I'd had done a chapter for a collaborative book that actually didn't come out until January this year. And I love this idea of collaborative books because you get to meet the other authors and there's just a whole selection of stories of how people have overcome adversity. So I've jumped into a few of those. The latest one's coming out in November. And they have strange timelines because they often say, okay, we're publishing at this time, and some of them do and some of them don't. I've got an ebook out about finding my inner child that came out in April this year. And what am I doing at the moment? I'm really enjoying writing memories from my childhood and young adulthood and motherhood in a selection of letters from myself, or a mum, I should say, from a mum to her long lost daughter. So my working title is Dear Emily, but I don't know what the actual title will be. But it's bringing back so many beautiful memories. I just didn't want to take to the grave, really. I wanted to put them down somewhere.
That's an excellent way of doing it. Do
Yeah.
you also write other things as well as your own books?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. I've started to write like guest blogs and articles for digital magazines. It's weird because I hadn't considered that. And those are just opportunities that seem to be popping up, whether it's on my social media or I find them when I'm looking through somewhere else. And I'm learning to just, if it feels aligned, say yes, and then work out how to do it later.
That's definitely a good thing to be. It's always like, say yes and work it out later. It's all good.
So I'm going to just jump in as well, because yesterday was a very exciting day. I went on a speaker boot camp. Now, I had been on some speaker training a couple of years ago. I got on all right, but I didn't do anything with it, really. Done a couple of podcasts, but I've never done a keynote speak as such. But that's what we were doing yesterday. And a group of 10 of us crafted this keynote speech. My practice, I couldn't do it at all. I just got completely stuck. But then there was an opportunity to have a go to hear what our voice sounded like on the microphone. And I couldn't believe it. It just happened. And then when I'd finished, I turned to the leader and just said, what happened there? So this is something I want to incorporate, speaking as well.
I mean, there's a huge difference between writing something, even if it's in your voice or if you ghostwrite someone else's, and actually speaking the words aloud. I mean, I work with a couple of professional speakers, and a lot of the things they do is how to get over those nerves, how to present yourself. And I suppose that eventually it'll come naturally, but that's all in the back of your mind.
Yes. What I learned a couple of years ago was coming back, and there was she was teaching us how to speak without using notes, without using any prompts, and that was so helpful because you're not having to worry, where am I in the notes? We were just remembering pictures, really, or photographs. Maybe you would have those behind you when you spoke, but it would really help to just prompt where you were in the story, and you could just go back to that next picture. Really helpful way of doing it.
Yeah, I'd agree on that one. I mean, I use cue cards if I'm speaking because otherwise I don't even know what my own name is.
Once you get going, once I got into flow,
Yeah.
so I just where hands keep coming in. Once
That's a
I
good
got
thing.
into flow, it was great. And once you get the attention of the audience, it's just a really empowering feeling.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I've heard a lot of people say that. So, as a disabled entrepreneur,
Yeah.
how do you find that with your work?
Right. Well, I know you know me, but those who are listening don't. So I kind of got one foot in disabled and one foot in able-bodied, and I'm kind of in limbo between the two. And it just depends where my pain is, because I can go from pain 0 to pain 9 pretty quickly. I have a special skill, which is being able to locate a flat wall at 300 paces, because sometimes I just have to lie down pretty quickly. The most frustrating thing is that fear of where am I going to be able to lie down, especially if you're going to venues to do anything, whether I'm going to a book fair to sell my books. I've had to lie down in public in like the ladies' loo with people stepping over me because there was nowhere for me to go. That was so humiliating. And people just don't understand that this thing comes on so quickly and it doesn't seem to be anything wrong with you. And then the next minute they're seeing me lying down. I have to lie in a certain position as well, so on my side, and then slight to one side. It looks as if I've just fainted or collapsed. So it's quite dramatic when people see me lying down. So that is my main issue, is this pain situation, and then all the feelings that go around that, and the imposter syndrome that's around that.
Yeah, I think the imposter syndrome can get worse when you're a disabled entrepreneur as well, because it's not just the usual, am I really able to do this? Am I good enough?
Yes.
It's that, am I physically or mentally able to do this? Or is it really holding me back?
And the preparation side of things. So I'm hoping, I have applied for access to work, and I am hoping that I will have a support worker to help me when I go to events, because when you're selling books are heavy things.
Yeah.
So you've got boxes of books, you've got the other bits and pieces that's going to be on your table. If you do have to go and lie down, I mean, the venues I've been to, most of them have been very helpful. They have provided a place that I can go, but when I'm not there, nobody's at my table. So it's having somebody to do that, and hopefully somebody maybe to be able to drive me, because I am getting way more confident with a certain brand of navigation, which I probably shouldn't say, of getting to places. I'm not good at driving where I don't really know, but I get very tense, and when I get tense, my back pain really sets off. So if I haven't got to worry about how I'm going to get from here to there, then that would be a great thing. So I need to find out. I gather I'm getting it up the list somewhat, and I think my assessment will be quite soon. So I need to find out a little bit more about it.
We all just sit in the queue and wait.
It's knowing what's there, really. I know from a support point of view, I know, but from the actual physical point of view of things that may be helpful for chairs, desks, that side, or technology, I'm not sure of. But yes, I'm embracing the challenge and moving forward. And I'm planning to write a book all about my scoliosis, so to help other people.
So this is the question that we ask everybody, and we get a different answer every time. Yeah. What does business success look like to you?
So that ties right into what my mission is. From the author side of things, I just want to get my message out there to the women that need to hear it. So not just women in my local community or my country, but globally, there are women going through the kind of stuff that I write about all over the world. I mean, it happens to us all, wherever we are. And I just want to get my word of encouragement to them, so that they can move forward and know that they're not on their own.
Yeah.
And that for me is success.
Yeah. That sounds like a real success to me. The whole, if I can at least help one person.
And I don't like that. Reason because it just keeps you so small.
Yeah.
I used to think, if I can only help, no, don't. Hang on a minute. If you believe in universe and that I don't just want to help one person. I want to help many people.
Helping people on global domination.
It's a ripple effect, isn't it?
It
so helping one person, and then that moves on and moves on. So, and the most exciting thing about ripples is you don't know where they flow, and you're not half of those, well, more than half of the stories I'm never going to know. I'm never going to know the results of somebody reading, but every now and again I get some wonderful feedback or a review, and it just reminds you, I'm doing something worthwhile. Keep going.
Yeah. It's just that boost you need on a bad day.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay, so you've told us a little bit what you want to do in the future, but what are your overall plans or any specific ones you've got for the future?
On a personal level, I'm coming up to that wonderful age where I get a tiny bit of money from the government next April. So I'm officially at retirement age next April. And I've had a conversation with my care family to say that I'm going to be, it's difficult to say because it's just rather emotional, all this, because I've worked with my guy for over 3 years, but I'm officially going to be stopping and I'm retiring down to Cirencester, but I'm not really retiring. I'm just moving to Cirencester. I love Cirencester. It's quite near to where I went to school. I've got some friends nearby in Swindon, and every spare moment I hive off down there. I want to continue writing, I want to continue speaking, and who knows what opportunities will pop up. So I'm just open to what might come my way.
Is that a good place where you find inspiration as well,
Oh, gosh, yes. Yeah, you've been reading my Facebook post.
then?
If I'm stuck writing, I mean, the last collaborative book, I don't know why, I just couldn't. I really wanted to do it, and then I just couldn't get started. So I took myself off to a cafe in Cirencester, and the creative juices seemed to flow. Alongside, I've got myself a cup of tea and a little bit of hubbub going behind me, not too loud, but just a little bit. And then it just happens. And I think it's because I feel comfortable, and my identity of how I see an author being is just somebody who's just sitting in a nice corner writing away. And I do all my books on my phone, so I write the whole lot on my phone. I don't really like laptops because I'm not very comfortable at a laptop, but I can use my phone wherever I am.
That's pretty good. I mean, I've got fat fingers. I can't type on my phone very well.
Right.
But yeah, I could see that being something that you sat doing. As well as writing and speaking, is there anything else, other plans afoot?
Not at the moment. We'll see what happens. I may do some more support work down the companionship work, but I don't really know, Joe, to be fair. I'm not quite sure what opportunities are going to come up when I'm down there. And I'm just open to enjoying life as well.
Yes, we've got to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
work.
I mean, I like paint, like throwing paint onto canvas is something exciting. I always enjoy doing that, or a bit of doodling or joining a book club. I don't know. There are lots of social things down there, so getting involved in what's going on.
That's what I was going to say. I find that sort of I get really creative when I've got nowhere to write it down, like in the shower, out and about doing stuff. Because I don't carry pen and paper because writing hurts. Everything goes on the laptop. I suppose if you write on your phone, you've always got it there. So it's like if an idea sparks, you've got it there to make a note.
And yeah, I use notes an awful lot on my phone. I must admit, if there's an idea that just comes and I can't actually officially put it into the book, I just put it in notes, or I just do a voice note to myself. Yeah, something like that. Or take a quick photo of something that will remind me to spark off later.
That's a lot of different ways to go around it. I like that.
Yeah, so it's like people say keeping a notebook always with you, which I do really, but it's just a digital notebook, I suppose, rather than a practical one. I do have my little notebook as well, and do some squiggling. I mean, I do love stationery, I must admit. I'm a bit of a stationery freak, always have been, always will be, I think.
Oh, you need to talk to Stacey. She loves a bit of stationery.
You can't beat it, really. I suppose it's the way I like actual books rather than ebooks. It's that tactile element of it.
I'm in agree on actual books rather than ebooks. I love the smell of a book. But any time, because people used to buy me posh stationery, I don't write anything down. But anytime I come home, if I've gone to an expo or something, and I've got like stationery and stuff like that, my husband steals it because he loves it.
I don't have that problem.
Not a good problem. It's not a bad problem, I suppose. So, if people want to get into writing, how should they do it from your perspective?
Well, there's many ways. And that's something that I'd like to do at some point, maybe to mentor people to write their own story. But I'm aware that I need to do a lot more myself before I can really move into that space. I've started, but I think maybe to begin with, it's just as we've just been speaking, really, it's just jot down those ideas. Who do you want to write? Who do you want to write the book for? Who is your audience? Who are you writing to? You'll often find that's a younger version of you, which was certainly in my case. If you're writing a non-fiction book, if you're writing memoir, you probably are writing to people that have gone through stuff that maybe you've been through. And then don't worry about chapters or lengths or anything like that. It's literally just throw all the ideas down somewhere. That might be on a big A3 piece of paper. It might be a piece of lining paper that you stuck to the wall. It doesn't matter. It's like doing any project. It's just getting the ideas out there as much as you can. You can organize them at any time, and then you can just choose which of those ideas you want to write about. You don't have to start at chapter 1 and finish at chapter whatever. You just write about something that you'd like to write about that's on that sheet. And I think the biggest mistake that I hear about and I see is people tend to tell it rather than show it. And they always say, show, don't tell, because otherwise it just comes across as a list of facts. I did this, and then I did that, and on such and such a date, I did the other. Well, the reader does need to know where you are and what sort of timeline you're using, but they're wanting to be there with you. So depends how you think, how your creative process is. I think a lot in pictures. So when I'm writing, I've got a video going in my head of the event. I'm in that whatever age I was, and I'm feeling the feelings, I'm smelling the smells, I'm touching whatever I'm touching. And then I write it as if I was wanting somebody to be able to watch the video, but who couldn't see it. So like a visually impaired person wouldn't be able to see that video, so I'm describing it for them. And people say that they feel as if they've gone through the journey with me, as if they're right there with me as I'm going through it. And that's what I want. It's resonating with them because I'm telling it exactly as it was, with all your feelings.
I mean, I think that's one of the things of how you know it's a good book is you can see it in your mind.
Yes, you're there.
You
and you can't put it down.
You forget you're reading. You're just immersed.
Yes.
I used to spend days like that. These days I'd fall asleep, but that's another story. But yeah, that used to be. I loved the movies that like ran in my head while I was reading.
Yeah.
And if you can put someone in that other world, or no matter what you're telling them about, I think that's an amazing skill.
Yeah, and I just didn't realise I had it. I'd done little bits of writing. I'd done the odd article. I'd done a letter for the Sunday Times when I was early teenage about something I was outraged about. The odd bit and piece I had to go with. But I heard yesterday at this speaker thing I went to, somebody told a tale that their whole life had changed as a result of something that had happened in lockdown. And it wasn't a negative thing. It was, they'd made a huge change in the direction of their life. And this was the same. I mean, if it hadn't been lockdown, I may not have come across that opportunity to do that project. And I may not have realised I could do this. So I had this skill.
Well, it's like lockdown was both horrific and amazing, and I'd say that for quite a few people.
Yes, yeah, well, I would agree there. I sadly lost all my care clients to COVID, and I had separation anxiety that came back. I was very scared of getting it because of health issues, and have asthma and things as well. So it was a mixture of both, wasn't it?
It was, and it's like very much on the extremes of both as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it was an odd year. So, where can people find you and find your books?
Well, pretty well anywhere. You've just got to pop into your search engine, Carolyn Parker author, and I know that I will pop up, and I will pop up pretty well at the top, I think. So Carolyn Parker author is my web address as well, .co.uk. I know you've got the show notes there, and I think you've got my link tree as well for other things. And my books are on Amazon.
So yeah, go check those out and get them, because it sounds like it's going to be an amazing read and you won't regret it at all. All the links will be in the show notes. So
I mean, I love feedback as well, so please let me know how you feel about it.
Go on and feedback as well. So, one last thing. Any last tips you'd like to share?
Yeah, so I've thought of this before I came on. Thought, what's the one tip that I'd like to leave with everybody? And that it's a well-known quote, but so apt. It's that you're never too old and it's never too late. Heading up to 66 next birthday, sometimes people can think, oh, it is too late for me to start. I'm not going to manage to do that. How on earth do I do that? And I'm actually doing more jumping out of my comfort zone this year than I've done many years of my life. So just do it. Don't overthink it. Just do it.
That's great advice, and I agree. As much as I hate being out of my comfort zone, that's when life gets magical.
Where the magic happens, isn't
It's
it?
where the magic happens. Anyway, thank you for joining me, Carolyn. It's a pleasure. Last questions? Don't think I do. Go find her books, go find her writing, go follow her on everything, because she's amazing. If you're not part of the Disabled Entrepreneurs Facebook group yet, please come join us. You'll find her in there as well. She's one of those nice, engaged people. I've been Jo O'Neill of Whyatt Business Solutions and the community leader for the Facebook group. You can also find out all the stuff that the Business Success Network is doing at businesssuccessnetwork.co.uk. Again, all the links are in the show notes. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for joining me as well, Carolyn. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Jo.